did some survival for 1 month. And the one thing that for me that I take very seriously is having sales target. So for me, I've always had monthly sales target, and they keep going up depending on, my performance from the previous month. So I remember at the end of that particular month, I looked at my sales and I almost fainted because I have never seen such low sales in my entire life. I think the last time I had that kind of low sales was when I was having my 9 to 5 and I was doing my business as a side hustle, which, whether it makes money or not, I still have a salary to depend on. So I wasn't really worried about it. So I looked at the sales and I almost had a heart attack because I had not seen such poor numbers in such a long time. And I remember I almost felt depressed in a way for almost a week. I didn't feel like doing anything. I wasn't, bothered about anything. I even stopped watching news because they were also so depressing about corona this, corona that, how many people have been infected. I don't know, someone goes, spreads to almost everyone in church, in funerals. So it was such a depressing time for me. But then one thing that I remembered was, if you have ever worked in corporate before, you know that things change almost every other day. Today you have this boss, tomorrow you have a different one. Today you're working in this region, next month you've been sent to somewhere else. Today you have this particular branch, you're working this branch, oh, you're told it's closed. Like when you look at most banks, what normally happens, you find that, they end up closing even, I don't know how many branches. So that kind of disruption is there constantly at that particular level. And I remember at one point where there was some big disruption in the workplace. And my boss at that time told me, you know what, because for me at that time, I think that was one of the biggest disruption that there was. And I took a little bit longer to acclimatize to the new changes. And I remember my boss at that time telling me, in this life, the only constant thing is change. And I had heard that phrase before, but I hadn't encountered a situation where I can actually apply it. For me, at that time, indeed, I think change is the only constant thing. And then at that particular point, I realized I have moved. I have to, I was looking forward to moving, so that wasn't an issue. But Corona was here with us, and it's changing the way we do business. And that really made me look at it differently from a point of, okay, now feeling miserable, like Corona is here, what are we going to do, to accepting that it's here. So what do we do differently? And I think that most people don't allow themselves to go through, which is accepting your mind into what else now can I do? This thing is here to stay, or then we think, so what are my options, from here? And it's the same thing, even when you get someone like a drunkard, and I like to use this example of relationships. For example, let's say you're dating somebody and it's going well and you think, marriage is in the horizon, and all this. Even if you're married and then the marriage doesn't work out, you always find that the person who is the first to accept that this thing is no longer working gets to move on way faster than someone else who is still in denial. Like, I have wasted my years. You end up spending time languishing in what was than what is currently, and then what you can do to move forward. And when you look at both scenarios, you'll always find whoever has accepted first, and you have accepted the situation as it is, then you're able to make decisions like, okay, now I'm on my own. What do I do if I have a child? Then someone else who, so you find yourself in denial. Like, I have wasted my years. You end up spending time languishing, continuing to languish in the fact that what is thing currently, and then what you can do. And I looked at that example, and when you look at both scenarios, you'll always find I don't whoever has accepted and make changes within my business, you have accepted, then I'll be here in December crying about how my business was affected by Corona, and probably even close, who knows, because there's so many businesses also which have not been able to to survive during these particular times, which is a bit sad. But then again, you have to look at your own individual business and see how can it survive this particular pandemic. So I'll just give a few examples of what then Corona ended up affecting in my business and the kind of things that I did to try and mitigate that. So as you mentioned, I deal with beauty products, so that is makeup and skincare. And most of these products, we get them from the UK and the US mostly. So ideally, if there are no flights coming in, no flights going out, then one of the things that was affected for us was shipping, because we have to ship the stuff from, the US and the UK, and cargo at some point was a bit overwhelmed, and almost every shipping agent was experiencing some delays of some sort and the like. So I remember after around 3 weeks into the Corona issue, already we were getting emails from our agents, goods will be delayed, and they had no clear timelines on how long that will take. And, you have to assume the worst. What if my goods don't come in like 3 months? What am I going to do? You can't assume that because they have said delays will happen for 2 weeks, and then you put your mind on 2 weeks. You have to think about, what if after 2 weeks there's still delays? What will I do? And I remember at that time, so that is after my sales have sunk to a point where I'm just like, I need to be serious and see what to do. So once I started receiving those emails about delays and stuff, I started thinking to myself, what can I do to ensure that my business still has stock to sustain the business and, obviously to sell. And the first thing that came to my mind was Kenyan businesses. We live in a time where makeup and skincare in Kenya has come such a long way. I remember, like 5-7 years ago, where we only had Susie Beauty, we had Pauline Cosmetics. But now there's so many brands that have come up for both makeup and skincare, which is still the industry that I am in. And I started thinking about, what if I reached out to these businesses in a collaborative manner so that I still am able to sell these products on my platform. And I am lucky, I would say, plus obviously making that relationship with people in such a way that they were able to come on board. And I remember I worked with so many Kenyan brands from June, July, and even a bit of August as well. And that to me is something that I wouldn't have thought about it if Corona wasn't here, to be honest, because yes, I have worked with Kenyan brands before, but I wasn't in a position where I work only with Kenyan brands only, So that's the first month whereby majority of the brands that I was handling at that time were Kenyan brands. And then when you look at the sales and products bit of it, I wasn't so sure with these delays that were happening, what was products, for example. There's always those products that move way faster, and then there are those products that, then what I ended up doing was to look at my inventory and look at my past sales history, and then pick out products that, were fast movers. So I felt like during this particular period, especially early on when Corona was just hitting the country, that wasn't the time for me to start to, or rather to continue stocking something that probably takes like 3 months, to sell out. I needed things that the moment I stock them, the faster they go, so that I recoup my money and get more stuff. So I had to look at my sales history and see, okay, I have these cleansers. If I have 5 cleansers, which of these 5 are able to move as quickly as products? So if you pay attention to my business, especially on Instagram, then you will notice that there are some things we haven't stocked in quite a bit. And the reason behind that is because you don't want to have something in stock that takes at least 3 months, to sell out. You want something that you can stock this week, and by next week it's gone, and you're able to restock it, and you're able to, to keep that chain moving. So that's one of the things that I had to do. And then the other thing that I had to do was to listen to what, my customers and people in general were talking about. So one thing that people were talking about was, when they wear the mask, the makeup always comes off the mask, and then they're staying at home. So obviously, if they're staying at home, they're not wearing makeup. So they're more into the skincare bit of it. So since my business deals with makeup and skincare at the same time, I had to switch and stock more of skincare because that is what my customers needed at that time. So I feel like, was it not for me accepting that there's this change, and therefore what can I do within this change, I wouldn't have been able to come off that that hole I dipped myself at the beginning of Corona, to a point where now, as we speak, I'm able to, get to the targets that I set for myself on a monthly basis, which I feel like, if I wasn't able to acknowledge that indeed at this point I need to change the way I work just to acclimatize to the new ways of working, then I wouldn't have managed to get myself out of that. So the secondly is marketing strategically online. So when it comes to marketing your products strategically online, I think the first thing you have to look at is what platform is good for me. There are businesses whose platform are better off on, let's say, Twitter. There are businesses like mine, which are heavily dependent on images and videos, and that one will do well on something like Instagram, or you can also have a website. So when it comes to your business and the online space, you have to look at, out of all these social media platforms, which one is going to complement my business the best. And then that is where you start, because some people have successful businesses on Facebook, some have successful businesses on Twitter, some on Instagram, and even some, they host on their websites. So you have to look at that first before you can, decide on what platform you're going to do that. And then you have to have your insights lead you towards what kind of activities, whether it's marketing activities, you're going to employ, so that you don't speak to the wrong crowd. For example, if your insights are telling you that majority of your customers are 30-year-olds, so you have to look at what do 30-year-old people need. If your insights are telling you that majority of your followers are 18-year-olds, what can impress an 18-year-old? So you have to work in line with the numbers. If the numbers are telling you this, what are you doing then to ensure that those particular people are able to benefit from your products as well? And then there's this thing that we talk about all the time, but I do not know whether we internalize it a lot, and that is content is king. Sometimes I find people, someone can DM you and they're like, I've been in business, I've had my business online for, let's say, a year, and I'm struggling to get customers for my business, and the like. And then when you go to their page or to their business, wherever it's hosted, you find that someone has not posted, for example, for the past month. Maybe they have, they post irregularly. Maybe this week they have one post on, next week they don't even bother to post, and then the other week they're having 2 posts on their platform and the like. And you realize that does not create that connection and engagement with your customers. You have to be very consistent with the way you post, and then the content itself has to be tantalizing in a way so that it's able to make your customer able to, it kind of like grabs their attention to that particular product. And now for them to see, okay, do I need this product? Do I need this service? And yes, maybe depending on how you create your content, then it's able to convince them. Because remember, someone with a physical store has an advantage of someone, a customer can be even passing by in a mall and see your business and get in. And if it's, let's say, a boutique, they're able to feel the fabric, they're able to see whether it fits them, they're able to engage you on, 1 or 2 things. But on the online platform, you do not have that, you don't have that presented to you. So you have to do the presentation to your customers in form of videos, in form of pictures. You can show different angles of your product. You can talk about your product. You can do even a video explaining about a service that you offer. And in doing so, and comment and posting as regular as you can, obviously, you have to look at your insights that show you at what time most people are online. And the good thing with COVID times was that most people were online anyway. So you could have even, posted throughout the day, and the content can easily get in front of the customer that you want. So content is king, and I highly, highly believe in it, because even when I look at my business, whatever I post on that particular day is what sells the most. So content is king. Create quality content for your products. Post as much as you can, and then at the end of the day, try to make up for that that lack of one-on-one situations with your customers by engaging them in your DMs, engaging them in your stories, engaging them in the comment section and the like.
Great. I have just been here typing out lots of sharing you've shared with us, and I hope all our participants are also learning a bit. Remember, if you have a question, feel free to put the questions on the chat box. We will be having a question and answer later, where you can get to ask Maureen various questions. But Maureen, what I've really learned from you and picked up is you were able to accept the change that came and stop pretending that it hasn't happened. And one of the things that has really stood out for me is that every time we are running our businesses, we always have to think about how is our business impacting my whole life. And so that I'm able to align my efforts. And then from a matter of disruption and do you need to be online, Maureen says it is a must. But what you've been able to also clarify, and all of our businesses currently here need to understand, yes, your business needs to be online, but you need to find out which is the platform that will complement your business the best.
Yeah.
And not just be present online, but also review and analyze the insights and analytics that you will be receiving. Thank you so much, Maureen. We'll be coming back to you shortly with the questions and answers, but like also that you were thrown into the deep end of collaborative efforts with Kenyan brands. Do you know, Maureen, actually, I was asking myself, is this the same Bandari Beauty that used to be in Coast? Because I remember sometime I wanted to buy some product, some product, and I asked on your Instagram DM. That was before Corona, and I was told, we're in Mombasa, so we'll be delivering it, I think with G4S or something. And I was like, wow, you can sell products from wherever you are in the world, and even in the country. But it is interesting. One of the questions I have for you, and you will take it now. You'll just note it and then you will speak about it later. You said you have been encouraged and forced to listen to what customers were saying. They're telling you, we're not wearing makeup because we are working from home. And so you had to switch and focus more on the skill. So please, you will share with us later when you're answering this question. How do you communicate to your customers online? Are they honest? How do you make sure? You see, when someone comes to your shop and tells you, me, I'm not happy about this, or me, I'm happy about this, is different, in my opinion, than when someone just tells you, thanks for delivery, I'm okay. So what are some of the things Bandari Beauty has been doing to make sure that you're getting the right feedback? Because I also know that the right feedback matters. How does it align online? You'll take that one later. And if you have any other questions, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to write them in the chat box and then we will discuss them later. Now, I would like to invite our next speaker all the way from our East African sister country, Tanzania. This is Mercy Kitomari. And Mercy Nenelwa Kitomari has over 5 years of experience in the ice cream industry. Now, I know we have a couple of people who are sweet tooth, who have sweet teeth here, and she'll be telling us how her business is taking away most of our teeth and our children's teeth. Anyway, currently, Mercy is a founder and CEO of Notre Heritage Limited. Which focuses on producing and distributing premium homemade gelato. And on the same brand. She makes. She also teaches people on how to make ice cream. I want to learn. Is there healthy ice cream? I don't know. And she has trained more than 50 students across Tanzania, and also 2 international students from Malawi and Cameroon. I'm so impressed that you even count. They are 2 internationals. Maybe you even have some goals. Yeah. As part of her mission to be involved in youth programs, she's very active in the youth space and is also a marketing professional. She's a graduate of Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, and I just can't wait to hear how the ice cream business is doing online. Karibu sana, Mercy Kitomari.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for that deep introduction. Sometimes you get reminded that this is what you do, but you just do it. You just do everything. So long as you're alive, you do everything. So hi, I'm Mercy Nenela Kitomari. Most people call me Nelwa. They call me by the name of the brand. I make homemade ice cream. I started in 2013. After quitting my job as a banker, and then I started working on the ice cream business full time. On the training part, during the process of doing the business, I learned that I'm not the only one with this passion for this business, but unfortunately, everybody can be in UK and learn what I learned from UK. I was fortunate enough to learn from a chef who was friendly in sharing knowledge and showing me you can make ice cream out of anything. You just have to relax about it and see as you're making food. So in that process, I learned how to make ice cream, and I figured when I got home, I started doing it, but I realized many people are asking, how did you start? How did you do it? They want to learn. Hence, I started teaching. And another motivation behind the teaching is this. There's a thing about us Africans. We like borrowing from each other. Not, I want to say the real word is stealing. You see someone has a bakery, you go steal her stuff or his team, and you bring your team to your place. So I figured, you know what, you might as well teach before they steal your stuff. So that's how I started teaching. And therefore it has been a ripple effect of impacting people's lives and get to know their journey. Then I'm a part of their journey, of the entrepreneur journey and the entrepreneur dreams. So it has turned out to be something good. And my involvement with youth, I'm pushed by entrepreneurship. Whether you're making ice cream, karanga, whether you're selling underwears, whether you're selling, we are a mechanic or something, we just have to document our journey and just be like this generation and build another generation of entrepreneurs. We can't just have few names on the top. Am I being heard? Okay. And then, so when there's a program at my church, I'm part of it. When there's a program, a community-based program, or it's gender equality, or it is women entrepreneurship programs like the Dream Builder that we do and everything, I get involved. Because I believe entrepreneurship is the drive of all economies, especially in East Africa. Entrepreneurs are the majority. It's that many are informal, but through one head after another, we can formalize as many as we can. Therefore, we have a more formalized system. So being an entrepreneur is the right thing. Now, back to the impact of disruption and being online. I somehow, my process of being online started a while back. I've always been present and heavy on social media, and as being my main outlet and my main communication to the audience. So, but then my business model then by December 2019 was me partnering with outlets. But then it wasn't working so well because you supply and, you supply, but they don't pay you. So you spend so much time, you're chasing payment for 6 months. That's not productive at all. And then when towards December, I started packing the ice cream in buckets, and I just did some few delivery to friends, and I just posted those. And it just, from that moment, it picked up a ripple effect. And immediately, just before Christmas, I was just selling ice cream through home deliveries. And that was amazing. It was an amazing, amazing process, because by the time, Maureen was saying, by the time those time we're talking about Corona, I was like, it's in China, it's not here. It's, it's not going to bother us and everything. So I'm guilty as well of sharing people and talking about Corona and reposting and everything. But then come January, slowly started crippling in. Come February, started crippling in. And by then, that's when people started staying at home and working from home. And in that process, I was almost taken by the negativity of during that moment. But in my heart, I say, I'm going to use this process to do better. So one of the three things I wanted to do are work on my product, improve it, and look into the recipe in details, and work on the feedbacks I've gotten. Some customers, I'll deliver to them. They'll be like, I think this vanilla can be better or something. I worked on my product. I worked on myself. I didn't want to waste time. And by the time it ends, you don't have the luxury of, because for me, I saw it as a luxury of being at home and just spending time with yourself. And I worked on my mental health and my physical health. And though after that, I also worked on the business and trying to get new packaging and improving and increasing the volume of production. So during the time when people were staying at home, I was delivering ice cream because I was at home and people at home, and I'm posting. So we were just doing home deliveries. I was busy. Like the self-quarantine time got me really busy. I was super, super busy doing home deliveries. So it was me and my boda guys, and always they'll arrive, will make sure they wash their hands and everything, and sanitize their body. I spray sanitizer when they arrive at the gate from head to toe, just to be sure. But by God's grace, we got through that phase, and it was quite interesting when, Tanzania, we did things differently. When it was announced, we're no longer in that situation. For some reason, people went back to work and home orders stopped. That's been interesting. But also, during that process, I was looking at my business and evaluated it. But also, I had a desire of another business. I wanted to do spices, but I wanted to sell spices online in the international market. And also, I was thinking how to do more and just create content and just do other things as well, not to be stuck to one thing. Because when that one thing doesn't work out, sometimes you go cuckoo heads. So a partner reached out and asked, what do you think of a podcast? How about we start a podcast? I said, why not? Through Zoom. That's how we disrupted this whole process. Through Zoom, we'll book an appointment. Let's say we'll reach out to you, Sheba, and be like, we are asking for 35 minutes of your time on a Sunday from 6 p.m. to 6:30. And we talk about being an African entrepreneur. That's all. So it's like being an African entrepreneur. Then we started My African Moves podcast. That's how we started a podcast. And we started it in April, and it's still going. And it's been an amazing journey. We've connected with entrepreneurs in Ghana, Botswana. We've connected with Nigerian entrepreneurs. We've connected with many Tanzanian entrepreneurs as well in different regions. And it has been an amazing journey. And we get to know what other entrepreneurs are up to and how they're doing things differently, and just learning their African moves. That has been amazing. And then we started the spice. We figured, why not? So we learned how to do the spice business online, and we registered Nelwas spices in the US. And we have Nelwas spices on Etsy and eBay, and we're now processing for Amazon. But my friend, it's not ABC. It's not plug and play. It wasn't like you start an online business, plug or play, start selling, and then you see those stories when they tell you they sold 1,000 pieces in one day. Gotcha. Not like that. The story has another side. And when that was happening, we learned a lot. The process is not that simple, but it's doable. There's a lot of permits process. I had to get permits here through the FDA there so that we can safely ship the spices and everything. But it's been a very fulfilling journey because it's something that I have desired for a while to do, spices. But now we can do it on a platform where the whole world is heading to, and it's online. So I just went with thinking, like, what can I do better during this time, and use the platform that is the most popular platform right now and be part of it. You don't want to be outside. So it's agriculture and online business. Those two. You can be right on the money and get things done. So that's how I joined in the disruption. And I will say, upcoming entrepreneurs, be patient with yourself. As you start creating your online presence, mind you, I've been doing it 7 years. Don't rush and don't want to jump on a journey where I've done 7 years and then you're just doing 2 days and you want to be like me. Don't work. It doesn't work like that. Just be patient with your process. But right now, social media is so much advanced that you can track it. You can track your growth by day. You can see that in a day you have gained 10 followers, 50 followers, and everything, and just go with it and keep posting your content, what you're doing on basis. I would say I get inspired by a big friend of mine. She's called Open Kitchen. Between 6 a.m. and lunchtime, she has posted at least 5 posts, and all different information. There's one will be for lifestyle, there's one will be for family, there's one will be for food, there's one will be for something, but it will be something that, will draw you in and keep you there until when she's selling you something. By the time she sells you something, that will be lunchtime, and you might as well just buy the lunch because it will be like just on your face and you'll buy. So I like her strategy. I can't do that on that pace, but I learn from her, and it keeps me going and like wanting to catch up on her pace and stuff like that. Otherwise, on the other hand, you cannot have an online presence and your page be private. I think that's basic information. Hopefully people will unblock their online presence and, open it to their business. And then also, as you're doing it, do as your journey. Don't copy and paste. Don't look at someone's journey and compare it to yours. Just do at your pace. You'll build your own audience, but also you'll build your own customers, and engage with them more frequently. The more you engage, the more you build loyalty, and the more they become your ambassadors in your business. And use the online platform to your own benefit. You can't just use the online platform just to look for umbea. Use it to look for opportunities and just grow your business. Promote. The Instagram button of promotion, the Instagram option of promotion through Facebook. You can promote something just for $1, and it's so easy nowadays to promote content online. Just promote every day. Just promote for $1 and just keep going and don't stop. And with that, you grow with your audience, and your product will evolve as well. Because I have evolved from selling with outlets, partnering with outlets, having my own parlor, to now just being producer and distributor, what works for me, because eventually my dream is to produce ice cream and distribute across Africa. So with that sense, I cannot still be partnering with outlets, but I had to graduate to understand, what do you want and what are you doing about it? And my biggest thing on social media is I'm building a brand. So you have to know why you're on social media. Is it sales? Is it brand awareness? Is it just you just want to be famous? Or is it you want to be a personal brand or something? or you yourself, you want to be a brand that people can use you to promote their businesses, if you know what I mean. There's so many opportunities of being a brand and people using you in a good way to promote their businesses. And when you decide which one you want to be, then you work on that. You work on that. You work on that tirelessly. And every day, make sure at least you said that every day, 2 posts a day, and you'll keep your engagement and growing your content. And hopefully, in 3 years' time, you've built an audience that makes you good money. Because eventually, at the end of the day, it's about making money and growing businesses. I think I've said a lot.
Great. Yeah, you have. And I'm very curious because we have like about 4 more minutes with you before we even get to the question and answer. How, when you just moved or switched or pivoted to a spice business, and you're now selling it online on online platforms like Etsy and Amazon, and you are in Tanzania, how is that working for you? What are you learning? Because I'm sure there's a lot of, it's not as easy to list and sell, especially when you're not in those countries. How is that going for you? Or what are some of the lessons you can share with us from marketing and selling on an online platform?
Okay, so first, number one, I found a business partner in US. I'll say it was luck. Not everybody connects with a person at that level where you agree that you will receive the spices there, and you'll track the business from there. That's number one. The partnership, which is working so well, and the transparency of communication. We communicate to the T that how we're doing it. And I found the person to create the online presence. Got a professional person. We paid him like around like $200 or more, or $300, something like that, to create our online presence and create all those shops and everything, since they understand better about doing this. Because we tried to do it ourselves and we realized we are not understanding, because there's some coding required and everything. But also we were meant to, our shop is connected to an online warehouse, wherefore you have to link the two. We don't have that knowledge. So we got a professional to do that. In terms of registration, on that side of registration process, on government registration processes and taxes. So my partner there registered the business there and did registration there and everything. And the process was a bit slow because of the because of all this corona situation. But the process happened and it cleared, and we also followed up on everything else. It allowed us, just the downtime allowed us to work at the pace where it's less pressure. But we after we agreed what we're gonna do, we also agreed on working with professionals. You get a professional person, you pay them for their online work, and let them do their work. So at the end of the day, all these people that are saying they have these online courses that they can help you do an online shop and everything, you might as well pay them and do it than doing it yourself. Because the more you decide that you want to do it yourself, the longer it will take, the difficult it will become. So me, my partner in the US, and the online platform person, we've made it possible to make it work online, if I've answered your question correctly.
Yeah, you have answered it really clearly. And what I'm hearing from you is work with the right partners and professionals. Now, for the ice cream business, at the moment, is it still up and running?
Oh yeah. Yes.
I know you had mentioned, it dipped as soon as people went back to work. So what have been some of your strategies to getting back? What then did you do?
So when it dipped, I also understand I was okay with it, only because I was working that was coming from China, and it took a minute to get here. So the biggest challenge during home deliveries was the packaging was a problem. It was very tight. For you to open, you need your cousins, your whole family to help you open. It was super, super tight. You need a knife, a panga, or anything. So even sealing itself was really hard. So it's, you get packaging from Kariako. So with a partnership with there's a bank I worked with, and then help me get some people in China who helped me communicate this process. So the packaging took time to get here. So now it's back on full swing, going up, big level, big numbers and everything. We're now partnering with other bigger outlets, and we're gonna be in supermarkets, hopefully across border and be in Nairobi.
That would be
and stuff.
awesome. That will be
Yes.
awesome. Karibu sana. It's interesting to see homemade ice creams making a big entry and positioning, especially in Kenya. We have our version like yours in Kenya is called Delia's, and it's amazing. And it would, give us, bring some to Kenya as well. Let us have choice. I think it's amazing.
Yes.
And that's the thing with products and services. So thank you so much for your time, and also get ready for the Q&A session that will be coming up shortly. I'm so happy to hear that you're truly a problem solver, because during this time you've still been able to start another business, and now it's actually heavily online, because now everything is running online when it comes to the spice business, and that's very interesting. Two things I've had from you and Maureen is the aspect of, because you deal with products, both of you have had some issues with shipping, and especially because of this season. And when you come back during the question and answer session, I'd like you to share with us what are some of the light bulb moments you're getting, especially as an entrepreneur who's creating products, but also who is very dependent as well on distributors and service providers abroad. And what are some of the things you are adjusting to and doing when it comes to supplies, distribution, and even the logistics of things? Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mercy. That was Mercy Kitomari, our ice cream guru from Tanzania. And that was amazing. Thank you so much. Up next is my coach, Steve Harris, from Nigeria. He's ruthlessly and fondly called Mr. Ruthless Execution. You guys, you should see his coaching work on our WhatsApp group. It's crazy. He does not allow us to have any excuses. And that's one of the many things that I really like about him. He is a business coach. He's regarded as one of Africa's leading business coaches. He's also one of the most watched, most downloaded, quoted, and followed business coaches in Nigeria. And I must tell you how I got to meet him. He actually reached out to me via Instagram DM. And I am so impressed, because I'm just like, this is an interesting way of reaching out to your clients. And Steve, as you come on and you share your experience with us on what you've learned as a coach and even as an entrepreneur, because I know you also do other businesses. How has the experience? Do businesses need to be online? What have you learned? Share a little bit about what you're teaching us as well, because I saw it directly from you when you actually came on board and saying, I can help you and your coaching business right here online. So let's welcome Coach Steve Harris. Karibu sana. That's Swahili for welcome.
Hi, Sheba. Thank you for having me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an amazing honor and privilege to be here. My name is Steve Harris. And like Sheba just very, very articulately said, it's a really huge honor to be here. So yeah, let's get right into it. So for me, to be honest, I really do think that every business should be online. You don't have no excuse anymore. Back in the day, we would have billboards or signages to show where our businesses were. But now, technically online, you can get it as free as possible. Our job is to become really, really visible to our customers. Now, understanding this, having online presence doesn't mean you have online customers, okay? You can have, all of us have an online presence in one way, shape, or form, but I think usually the issue is the marketing and how to get that kind of attention that you require. So one of the things that I do, and Sheba alluded to that, is being able to reach out to your customer. about it one day and I said, you know, I figured it out, and I was asking myself a question, and I think this is something that we should all think about. How many percent of our followers on social media have ever patronized us? How many percent? What is the percentage of our customers who've ever purchased or, you know, bought anything or patronized us? When I crunched my numbers, I found out it was about 1.3% of my followers. Now I have about 112,000 people following me on Instagram, which is great. But if you have 112,000 followers and you only really have about 1,200 customers, that's just about 1%. So you're leaving a heck of a lot of money on the table. For us who are all marketing on social, one of the things that I will say, and I did say this when I was coaching Sheba in our program, I said, Instagram is a business, Facebook is a business, right? So it's in their best interest to reduce your reach. You know what I mean? So you can put content out there and you'll be surprised that people aren't gonna, you know, they're not gonna like, they're not gonna comment, or worse still, they're not gonna buy. And the reason that is because Instagram organically, you know, restricts your reach. So what they do generally is they give you about, if your post is really good, it's really going to reach about 10% of your audience. So if you've got 2,000 followers, that means about 200 people will receive your content. Now, so don't get it twisted. Not everyone who's following you will receive your content. You know what I mean? Which is why you already know that, you know, you could be following someone and not see their content in months. And it's simply because of the way the algorithm works. So generally 10% of your audience will receive your content. Now, it doesn't mean they'll see it. It's in the same way that you could be sent an email, but it'll end up in your spam or promotions folder. You received it, but you didn't see it, right? So if you got 2,000 followers, for example, that means an average of 200 people are receiving your content. Now, worse still, only about 1% of your followers are engaging with your content, which means they're either gonna like, they're gonna comment, or they're gonna, in some way, shape, or form, engage with it. So if you got 2,000 followers, that's about 20 people. Now, now that's not even good. What's worse is those 20 people, or those 200 people, or those 2,000 people, not all of them are your target demographic. You know what I mean? Not all of them are your target demographic. So you've got to put out bait that will cause your target demographic to rise to the surface. You know, it's like fishing. You put out the hook, you know, with the bait, and then you let it dangle in the water. And then what happens is the fish that have been chilling underneath begin to rise to the surface to be able to get what's on your bait. Now, how do you do that? You've got to be very determined. And I'm going to give the exact strategy that I use with Sheba and everyone else that I work with. First off, you've got to realize that in this age of disruption, before COVID, you could have the satisfaction of your customers coming to you, right? But now you don't have that opportunity anymore because your customers have way more choices. You know what I mean? I mean, all you need to do is look at your feed or your, you know, maybe around 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. on Instagram and watch how many people are going live. It only begins to tell you that now people can switch channels and switch, you know, switch businesses, switch service providers in an instant. You're no longer, so you can't sit on your throne and sit pretty, expecting your customers to come to meet you. You now have to go and meet them. You have to now go and come up with your proposition. So this is what I do. So as a business coach, I recognize that I want to serve entrepreneurs. I want to help them with their growth, their scale, with their marketing, their positioning, the whole 9 yards, doing all the awesome things that I do, right? But I need to pre-qualify my audience. I need to pre-qualify the people who can pay me for the value that I deliver. So what do? I make sure I put content out there that speaks to that particular demographic, particularly organically, and then later I can promote it. So I can put content out there that is business related and dealing with some issues about entrepreneurship. Now, once I put that content out there, what's going to happen? those people are going to rise to the surface. They're going to like, they're going to comment, they're going to talk about how frustrating perhaps, now it depends, you can come up with whatever content it is, but let's say I'm talking about what frustrates you in your business. Maybe that's the caption, what frustrates you in your business, drop a comment. Everybody who has a frustration in their business is going to rise to the surface. Now, when they rise to the surface, what do? I have a sales team whose job it is to engage all those people who have dropped a comment or liked, right? And so my sales team, who have access to my DMs on Instagram, now begin to engage with them. So they would say something like, maybe they saw, I can see Mercy Kitomari's name. So let's say it's Mercy. So you'd see, they get to Mercy dropped a comment, oh, my issue with my business is X, Y, and Z. And then whether I'm following Mercy or not is irrelevant. She's dropped a comment on my page. So my team sent Mercy a DM and says, hey, thank you for dropping a comment, I noticed you talked about X, Y, or Z, and all these things generally are scripted. So in some cases we change the narrative or the scripting, but all these things are scripted. And we say, thank you for dropping a message. We notice you have this issue. How can I help you? Right? And usually what happens is, oh my goodness, Steve Harris, oh my goodness, is this really you? That's what I like to, that's my story, I'm sticking with it. So the person is on the other end and they're excited and like freaking out, oh my goodness, Steve Harris sent me a DM. That's my story, I'm sticking with it, right? And then I'm like, yeah, it's me, calm down. It's not me really, it's my team, you know what I mean? And my team says, oh, okay, interesting. So you've got this issue. You know what, hey, I've got something that I'm doing where I'm working with, in some cases, or in the case of Sheba at the time, where I'm helping about 20 entrepreneurs in a group coaching session, and I can help you. Is that something you'd be interested in? If the person says no, there's no need to pursue the conversation because qualified, right? So if you're not in that space right now, it's cool. You can take a chill and go. I'm not even gonna get mad at you. Oh no, I'm not interested right now. X, Y, Z. Oh, no problem. It's cool. God bless you. Enjoy. If you say yes, then we try to get you over the line, and we say, okay, well, we have this amount of money in dollars or this, that, and the other. Would you be interested? Can I send you the payment link? If you say, maybe not right now, I can't really afford it, no problem, to the left, like Beyonce, to the left, go to the left, right? But if you're interested and you say, oh yes, that's something that I really need. And then the answer is, okay, great. Can I send you the details? The person pays, and guess what? I make money. So let me put it in context. Between June, July, August, between May, June, July, and August. Between May and August, I made an average of, conservatively, and that doesn't include my other business, that's just Instagram DM. So I'm qualifying this as sales in my DM. I made an average of about maybe $12,000 every month. May not seem like a heck of a lot of money, but guess what? That's money that was sitting there all the time. But because I didn't have a strategy to convert those followers into customers, they were just sitting idly. And that's what happens with a lot of us. We're just measuring our growth by the size of our followers, not by the conversions. But so when you think about it and you say, what base can I bring to the surface that I can help these people with? How do I show them that, maybe you're selling, hair, so let me make it even more practical, just in case you're not running a service business. So let's say you're selling, you're selling, what can I use? Let's say you're selling a dress, right? You're selling a dress and you put some contents out about your dress. And please, it shouldn't be the same, boring conversation. Oh, this dress size 36, or is there size 36? I don't know, size 12, you know what I mean? Size 16, size 12. And you put the price, oh, $25, only 5 pieces, buy now. People are not resonate with that, right? Because you're not speaking to my fantasy. And the problem many of us have when it comes to marketing our content on social media is we're selling the vehicle, not the destination, right? You're selling the vehicle and not the destination. So imagine, for example, that you were at the airport and maybe, each airline had the right to, so to speak, advertise and tell you to take their flights, so no, come and take this one. And they said, no, okay, so why should I take your flight? I said, well, we fly 38,000 feet. We have interior, this, that, and we've got internet, we've got Wi-Fi, we've got leather seats. None of that stuff matters if you're not going to my destination. You know what I mean? So if you're saying, no, you're going to Kumasi, or you're going to Abidjan, or you're going to South Africa, but I'm going to Ghana, no matter what you advertise, I'm not going to get on your plane. Why? Because you're not going where I'm going, right? So what is the point? You're trying to sell the destination. And many times that destination is either some sort of fantasy that your customer has. You know what I mean? Not just the fact that you're selling hair or you're selling bags or you're selling shoes. So for example, let's say you're selling maybe hair, right? And many Instagram people do, or many entrepreneurs who on Instagram do, they take a picture of the hair, or put it on a mannequin, or they brush the hair and switch their hair around, and they tell you, oh, it's in this length and that length. That doesn't make any sense. What you've got to do is you've got to speak to the destination. You say something like, listen, if you walk into an event and nobody notices your hair, sweetheart, you've bought fake hair. That's what you say. If you walk into an event and no one, with your really nice hair, and no one notices it, babe, you bought fake hair. If you buy hair that commands attention, or buy hair that turns other people's heads, come and buy from Sheba. So Sheba is saying she doesn't buy hair. She doesn't sell hair. Sheba is telling you that she sells hair that turns other people's heads. And that's the fantasy, that's the real inner desire that every customer has. They want to be the cynosure of all eyes. They want to be the focal points of everyone's attention. And now you've thrown shade, so to speak, on your competitors, saying that if you bought hair from anyone else and when you walked into a room, nobody noticed, nobody touched your hair, nobody asked you where you got it, then your hair was friggin' fake. Now, Sheba has now competed on a place where this regular hair seller who's selling inches and that's not what the person wants. When the person comes to your page, they want to be able to feel like, oh my God, if I buy hair from Sheba, I'm going to be noticed. Now, once Sheba puts that content out there and women or people begin to say, oh, fantastic hair, like, we usually do send me a DM, but they don't send you a DM. You have to now go to their DM. They've risen to the surface. You have to now close them. So they drop comments they like. Sheba is expected to now go to the person's page and send them a DM and say, hey, thank you for liking my page, right? I noticed that you like my post about the hair. Is there something you might be interested in? The person says, no, not really. I just really liked it and I just thought I should comment. And Sheba says, oh, fantastic. Then Sheba now says, oh, by the way, I checked out your page. Girl, you look lovely. And man, I mean, you know what? Can I just quickly show you something? Because I saw that, you've got a body to die for, and your hair, the way your face looks, you know what? Can I just show you can I just quickly show you something? You don't have to buy, I just want to show you something. And now guess what? You've given this woman a compliment. You've told her, got a body to die for. She's got a face that, would cause people to go to war for, you know what I'm saying? Right? You've paid her a compliment. And then you've come from a non-threatening angle to say, you know what? I have something that I think you would like. Can I just show you? And the person says, oh, okay, no problem, show me. Then Sheba now goes to her pictures and she sends only three. She sends 3 images of maybe amazing hair, preferably not on a mannequin, preferably on a real human who kind of looks like the curvy linearity of the person that you're talking to. Maybe the person is a size 12, hypothetically. Then whoever your picture is, post picture you're putting is somebody who also has that same body structure, so to speak, or facial structure. So the person can look at it and know exactly what they also would look like. And then you say to her, you send her the 3 pictures, and then you say to her, I just want you to do one thing for me. I want you to only like one picture, but I want you to like the picture that if you showed up in an event with your friends, all your friends will be jealous. That's just what I want you to do. Just like the picture of the hair that if you showed up at an event with your friends, all your friends are just going to be jealous. Just like it. Now, what you've done is you've sown a seed that, listen, what I'm about to pitch you, so she's already, as you've told her that, she's already thinking about herself walking into an event with her friends, maybe at the club or maybe at the restaurant, maybe at an event, and everyone's just touching her head. Sheba, this is your hair now. Wow, where did you get it from? And so she's gotten that immediate instant feedback. The adrenaline, the dopamine, or the endorphins are running through her brain. That chemical composition is happening, right? She likes the picture. And you say, oh, great choice. This actually happens to be one of my favorite hairs also. And I think it'll look fantastic on you. And then you say to her, you know what, right? This hair, the investment of this hair is hypothetically, I don't know, let me just say $100, right? It's hypothetically $100. But you know what? if you're interested in getting this hair now, I can give you hypothetically maybe a 20% discount, or I can give you a 2-time payment plan hypothetically, right? Is that something you'll be interested in, right? Now she may probably say, yeah, but right now I don't really have money, and I was thinking about this, and I have plans for money. No problem. You say, I absolutely understand. Let me just ask you one more question. Do you mind? Person says, okay, sure. Is $100 the price of the hair? Is $100 too much for the amount of jealousy, right? Or the amount of attention you're going to gather when you buy this hair? Is $100 too much for the amount of attention you will gain when you show up in the club with your friends? Now, what you've done is that you've shown her the value of what she stands to lose by not buying from you, right? You've got to be able to make your customers, right? And so the opportunity cost of her not buying is clear. She now knows that if she doesn't buy this hair, she's not going to get the attention from her friends that she not deserve. Or and you can ask her, if a friend came up into an event rocking this exact type of hair, how would you feel? That you had the opportunity to buy, and then you just leave it like that, right? How would you feel? She's going to say, oh God, I'll feel bad, but okay, so what can you do for me? Then that's where you now close her. Either you can offer a payment plan, you can give her a discount, but that's how effective it is. So you don't expect that because you've put content out there, you think that people are they're going to gravitate to it. It must have many of these emotional triggers, or else you'll be doing business wrong on social media. I think I've spoken more than 10 minutes or 15, Sheba, I'm sorry.
You have, I'm just telling myself that I'm just about to buy wigs and I have dreadlocks.
You know what I'm saying?
Funny, and what you're doing, what you've just been doing, Steve, right now is you've made that online space sound like you're in a shop, like you're in an office. You're like,
Yeah.
It sounds so intimate, and you just talked about the emotional triggers. Could you just elaborate that a little bit, how entrepreneurs in the house are able to customize the online space to be so unique and closed? Because you made it sound like you're in a shop, in a wigs shop with someone, and yet you're in an Instagram DM.
That's what it is, because again, you're having real conversations with real people, right? Everyone wants to buy, but they don't like to be sold to. You know what I mean? Everyone needs to feel like the buying decision was theirs, that it was they decided to buy, which gives you indemnity if they don't like what they paid for. It's their fault because they made the decision to buy, right? You've got to recognize, emotional triggers, and again, treat people the way you want to be treated. If you would like to be, so to speak, buttered up in the conversation with the people, right? Speak to their fantasies. Every woman, everybody wants to stand out, right? So your product is a vehicle that helps them stand out, right? Another thing, you can use emotional triggers like scarcity. Scarcity is an emotional trigger which is why many car companies that perhaps create, vehicles, they have limited editions and say we only made 200 of these vehicles, and these 200 vehicles will cost $1 million. We only have 200. We don't have 201. There are only 200 people on the planet that have this particular vehicle or this particular Birkin bag or whatever the hell it is, right? Scarcity is an emotional trigger. Fear of missing out is an emotional trigger, right? Where you create a sense of community and you're like, listen, everybody who's anybody has been on this, right? Why haven't you? You know what I mean? Look at all the people. And that's one of the things that goes very well for me, because I've been very privileged to coach quite a number of people who have become successful in their businesses, or people who already had businesses that I was able to scale their businesses and give them a bit more bravado and confidence, and be unapologetic about what they do and get them more attention. So when I'm having a conversation with you, I'm like, listen, all your idols, so to speak, quote unquote, all your idols have been coached by me. What are you waiting for? That's fear of missing out. You know what I mean? Everybody you respect, everyone you respect as an authority, somebody that Steve Harris has coached directly. So what are you waiting for? Don't you think it's time that you become an authority? Because this, if you don't do it next year, I'll be waiting for you, but I'll charge you interest for wasting my time. You know what I mean? So it really is about that conversation and showing people really what they will lose. And I think that's the proposition that most entrepreneurs answer. We talk about the benefits. Oh, it will be fine. It will be this. Yeah. Benefits less. Talk about what they will lose. What will they lose? If they don't buy from you, what will they lose? If they don't use your service, what will they lose? I tell people, they say, oh, Steve, you're expensive. I'm like, yeah, but I'm cheaper than failure. And I'm more affordable than trial and error. You choose. You can go to meet somebody else who will use you to practice and make all the mistakes on your business. If you want to do that, fine. I'm more affordable. And again, it's all about your positioning. You choose. How you can go to meet somebody. Brand. Birkins, Hermes is not to convince you to buy. Do you get what I'm saying? You walk in, it's either you can or you can't. If you can't, go away. Come back when your money is complete, right? But then they'll probably not leave the price at the same price when you came in a year ago. You're probably going to have to do a lot more work. So it's about your positioning. I mean, on my Instagram bio, and I'm very intentional about the things I say, and some say it's arrogance. I just say it's the truth, right? I tell people that, listen, I'm the first coach. I mean, present company exempted to Sheba, who's amazing. So forget anything I say. Forget Sheba she's the SI unit. So forget me. I'm just talking, right? But I tell people that I'm the first coach you should have come to multiply your profits, and I'm the last one you'll need. You know what I mean? So it's like someone said, are you saying that you're the Jesus of this game? I'm like, yeah, I am. Are you saying that you're better than anybody else? I'm like, well, yeah, I am. You know what I mean? And there's a positioning that I have pushed that, look, I don't want to be, and again, you have to be clear. I don't want to be which is why I say I'm the first one you should have come to. I know I don't want to be the first. I want to be that guy who, you know how it is if you're maybe in your restaurants or in your halls or in your schools, you'd always have that beside the fire alarm. You would always see usually you would say, in case of emergency, break glass. I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that's in case of you've used everybody else, you didn't get the results. Now, in case of emergency, call Steve. So I don't want to be the first. I don't really want to be the first person you come to. I want to be the last. I'm the one you should have come to, but you didn't because you went to go and meet every other person to practice on you and waste your time. But I want to be the last person you meet because after me, there will be no one else. So your positioning is very important. You got to show people what they stand to lose if they don't buy from you.
Great, thank you very much. I've always liked how you work with white. I think sales is really a forte and it's a skill, and it's something that all business people need to be able to understand so that they're able to apply in their strategies as well. So I'd like to invite all our speakers on video now. I'd like to invite Maureen, Bandari. It's interesting you're giving an example with hair business, and she's in the beauty and skincare business, Karibu, and she's from Nairobi, Kenya. And I'd also like to welcome Mercy as well from Tanzania. Mercy Kitomari, she sells ice cream, spices, and she's also a podcaster right now, Karibuni. So I'd like to just take a few minutes so that we can take questions from our audience that has been quite silent, listening to you and all of us having conversations. So if there's anyone in our class or in our session at the moment who has a question, this is the ideal time for you to raise your hand and you could speak to any of these entrepreneurs. Remember, these are people who are actively practicing what we are talking about today when it comes to selling online. And I'm seeing our alumnus, Liza Karaoke has a question. Hi, Liza. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi, Sheba. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Liza.
That's an amazing session. I think I'd like to ask this one to Harris because I like his attitude.
I like my attitude too. Go on, ask me.
You do? Okay, we have something in common. So I'm not on social media. Please don't bash me about it. Let me just ask for question and you can
Okay.
handle it. So for so long, even before Facebook, I deal in interiors and specifically fabrics. Some products are finished products, but others, especially the drapes, are production. So basically, one price doesn't cut it. Depending on what you need, the size of your house, we'll have to generate a quotation. So when I have looked at the people who have an online presence in our market, we are a market which is full of how much, and that's the engagement that people want. How much is this? How much is that? While we're more interested in the conversation, what do you need so that we can price it? And so for so long, only maybe after Centonomy, as Sheba has alluded to, I'm an alumnus, just completed. I slowly feel like I can be confident to put stuff out there, but for so long I felt, okay, what gives you the authority to be the best? So you find we have some prices we charge, which generally the market doesn't charge, but in our business we do charge for them. And we have our market, but because when I'm speaking to you, Harris, you've engaged me. So I'll tell you this is the costing, I'll break it down, that's private. Now, when social media means Sheba is seeing and everyone else in class is seeing or the want to know how much, how do we tackle that disparity of a market which generally thinks one way? And for me, I don't want to engage the price question. I want to deal product because our prices will really vary on what the client wants. How do you mass deal with all these people without looking like you're not an interested person or ignoring those questions? So that has really for a while been my problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So I'm not going to bash you about not being on social, so don't worry about
Thank you. Thank you. I'll join your course.
So here's what I need you to do, right? Again, I ended almost by talking about positioning and saying how you want to be seen by the market. If you're competing, let me put it this way. If you're selling to the mass market, you're going to be seen as a commodity, right? If you're selling to the mass market, you're going to be seen like a commodity. And commodities are, what's the word? Easily replaceable. You know what I mean? They're easily replaceable. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys have this in your countries, but in Nigeria, right, we sell what we call pure water. It's, you know, water in a sachet. It's just in a sachet bag. And people predominantly sell it in traffic. So, you know, they sell it to, you know, people who are thirsty. It's just water, but, in nylon bags. And they sell it to people who are in traffic, who've been in traffic for a while. So, you know, if you've been in traffic, you don't have air conditioning, you buy pure water and just drink it. But here's the thing. If I don't buy water or pure water from this vendor in traffic, I lose nothing. Why? Because I will find the next vendor selling me the exact same thing, right? I lose nothing. If I don't buy from one guy, I'm not going to feel bad. I'll meet the next guy. If he doesn't, I'll meet the next guy. You know what I mean? So if you're selling to the 90% or the mass market, you're selling the commodity. Selling to the 10%, right? You are selling a necessity. Okay. So let me use transportation as a metaphor. So at the bottom of the food chain of the 90%, the people who are paying for transportation are paying to get to their destination at the cheapest price possible. So they're not interested in, is it a bus? Is it a bike? They don't care. Whatever you call it in your countries, they don't care whatever the words are. For them, the proposition is, how do I get to my destination at the cheapest price possible? So that's what it is. So if you're selling to the mass market, they don't care. If you're selling to the 10%, right, you have to sell a necessity, where Uber, Taxify, Lyft, all those other brands, rideshare services, or even your own personal vehicle, right, they've pitched at you saying that, you know, having a vehicle or having a chauffeur, having a chauffeur in terms of a Lyft or an Uber is a necessity, because now it's no longer just about getting to your destination at the cheapest price possible. It's now about, how do you arrive? You know what I'm saying? It's now about how do you arrive? You need to make a good impression. It's necessary that you make a good impression the way you arrive. So you've separated yourself from all the, forgive me, the people at the bottom of the pyramid or the bottom of the food chain. And now we're showing that it is necessary that a person like you needs to be chauffeur driven. So you, even if you don't have a car, you can have a semblance of having your own driver. And that's what it is. Now, that's the 10% is a necessity. But now if you're selling to the 1%, you are selling several things. You're selling exclusivity, you're selling scarcity, and you're selling what I call, I am not your matey. You know what I'm saying? So there's exclusivity, scarcity, but you also say, I'm not your mate. You know what I'm saying? So when you drive a particular type of car, and this is prevalent in Nigeria, I can't speak for other African countries, but you can go into a meeting and the security guards will decide whether or not they're going to open the gate for you based on the car you drive. You know what I mean? So if your car looks like a 10% car, they'll say to park outside. But if your car looks like, this guy, okay, well done, sir. If there's no parking inside, we will call somebody to remove their car so that your car you can park inside, because what you're paying for is the extra value of showing everyone else that I'm not your mate. You know what I mean? So let me give you another example. I know some people who they hired me to do some work for them. And their proposition is healthy, healthy without, air, it's pressure cooker, without using oils, it's healthy, yada, yada, yada. And in Nigerian currency, maybe some of their cookware is like $1 million. $1 million is probably now, unfortunately, because of the rate, it's about maybe $2,500, right? The average Nigerian will not consider buying a pot for $1 million. Like what are they cooking? Okay, there's no oil. I beg. But whoever is going to buy that, and how I had to tweak their market, I told them, I said, you're selling a status product with health benefits, right? So a proposition for me about being healthy, about that, I care about the fact that I can spend $1 million on pots and pans, right? And just to prove to my friends, let's cook for you guys. These pots and pans cost me $1 million. They're like, $1 million for pots and pans. What's it? But I get the satisfaction of the fact that I'm not your mate. So here's my question to you. Who are you selling to? Are you selling to the commodity, the 90%? That if you are, or they see you like that, no matter what you do, unless you change your marketing and your positioning, they're going to drag you and they're going to treat you like a commodity. If you're selling to the 10%, they're more discerning, but they're going to think about still being conservative about their pricing. If you're selling to the 1%, those are the guys that you're looking at. So what I'm trying to tell you is, decide who you want to speak with. So for example, let's say you're into interior. I think maybe you said interior decor, and I heard you curtains and stuff like that. You're not selling curtains. You're not selling furniture. You are selling conversation starters. So what you're doing is you're telling people that, listen, if you have a home and there's no piece of furniture, or there's no, there's nothing in your home that causes people to say, this is so, did you get it? Then all you have is furniture. But if you want conversation starters, then come and meet me. Because what I do is I create a home or a space or facility for you that is full of conversation starters. So now you're throwing shade on everyone else selling furniture, because you're telling them that, look, you're even telling your followers, look at your house, look at your living room, look at your kitchen. Is there anything in your kitchen or in your house or in your bedroom that your friends have looked at and they've asked you, this is so fine, where did you get it? If you don't have that, all you have is furniture. But if you want conversation starters, then come and meet me. Did you get it? So automatically, it's a totally different kind of positioning. And then now shift the negotiation of the arguments to the power is now in your hands. So when the people are now saying, how much is it? You say, no, that's not the question. The question is, what do you want? What kind of conversations do you want to create? What we're going to do for you. If that's what you're interested in, let me know. So you have to now train your audience on the questions they're going to ask you. So you don't, so for example, on your Instagram or one of your pages, you can tell people, don't ask us how much, ask us what kind of conversations do you want to create. Do you get what I'm saying? So the question is, it's no longer a price issue, it's now a value issue. Let me not ramble. I want to listen and learn from all the other people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Liza sounds like she's good to go. And I think what you're talking about is what even Maureen talked a little bit earlier about. Content is king. So even if you're present online, and you mentioned this, coach, is what are you saying, right? What are you posting? What's the content on that poster? I'm seeing a question from Rachel Mombi. And Rachel, I'll request you to, Maureen, I'll request you to pick this one. Rachel is asking, how far does one need to go with a client online in reference to selling products? How do you deal with clients who DM you and want more information about what you're selling, about your products, but then at some point they stop responding? Do you follow up on them? And I'm sure, Maureen, you've dealt with that. I'm such a client sometimes. Tell us, how do you deal with that?
I've dealt with that for sure. And one thing that I've come to learn is that first of all, you have to accept that not everyone is going to be your customer. Some are more interested in what you do with the content that you post. And obviously that will encourage them to come and make an inquiry. But that does not necessarily mean that they are your target market. And one thing that I've come to employ, which, it's something that I came to learn from my previous work environment, whereby you have to do a bit of active listening. And that is where there's a difference between online businesses and, when someone walks into your store, because from that conversation with a customer face to face, and even their body language, and all, you can tell when something is not right. You can tell when they don't want the dress anymore, they don't want the makeup anymore. But in the online setup, most of them honestly do the ghosting, whereby they come in and actually majority of them are those that come in and they're like, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have, they can even mention like 5 or so products, and then you give them a total and then, they just go missing. So for me, I try and do a bit of active listening in that particular format. And as much as we're not speaking face to face, we are speaking on text. And I try and see at what point they go silent, because you'll realize that sometimes maybe someone comes in. For example, I'll use my own example whereby my business is mostly makeup and skincare. Maybe someone comes in and they have some dark spots on their skin and they want to buy something that can clear that. And for me, probably either I have what they're looking for or I don't have what they're looking for. And based on my response, they go missing. So at that particular point, it's possible that whatever I'm offering is not what they were looking for. And I believe in trying to do follow-up, because again, if you leave it open, you might not get to know what indeed was this customer looking for. So for example, if I send that particular customer a few products that I feel will attend to her situation, and she keeps quiet, but upon inquiring, I get to find out that she was probably looking for a specific product, which she doesn't feel like is among the things that I sent for her to check out. So if you leave it at that without trying to do a follow-up, then you might end up losing out on a situation where you could have actually helped this particular customer by providing the item that they needed. And sometimes you find that you have progressed with the customer to a point whereby you have given the total price of what they are inquiring about, and then they go missing. And in most cases, that can in a way hint to you that this is a price issue. They were not expecting all the products to come to that particular price. And upon inquiring, you can easily find out that their budget was of a specific amount. And if you have products that you're selling, in most cases, most of us have products that range from one price to another, then you're still able to offer this particular customer products of a lesser value or more value, depending on which one they were looking for, that is able to sustain or rather to service the issue that they had, but then the value is less and meets their budget. But then at the end of the day, you have to remember, it's not everyone who is a customer. Some honestly I feel like some just enjoy coming in, checking out how, because when you look at your DMs, you'll always find that customer who, whenever you post something, their only engagement with you is how much is this? How much is this? How much is this? You respond, they go missing. The next day they come, how much is this? You respond, they go missing. So this is a customer, honestly, even for me, I normally don't take serious, and I will never rush to even sometimes respond to such a customer and leave someone else who I feel is way more interested in the products that I am selling. So for me, I feel like it's a situation that you over time get to learn on how to analyze situations and get to see whether this is a serious customer, first of all, that is worthy of making a follow-up in order to understand what made them not progress to the next level, or is this a customer that you just leave it at that. And as even Steve was saying, when people come to his DMs, there are those who say no, and it's like, you know what, good riddance, bye-bye, that's it. Because he's in a position whereby he's able now to tell this is not a serious customer or is not available right now to take this program, and the like, and it comes with the job. I feel like in the beginning, when you're starting your business and you haven't made much sales, you are a bit desperate, I would say, to make every sale from every person that comes to inquire in your DM or on your website, or anywhere that you are hosting your business. So there's some desperate move there in the beginning, whereby you want to attend to every customer. You want to find out, why are these people not purchasing from me? But with time and with the experience, you get to a point where you're able to literally see that this is a serious customer. Let me just try and follow up on what has happened. Or this is someone that, for me, this is the end.
It's the end.
Yeah. And then I came to also realize that sometimes with working class people, sometimes they can go silent, not because they want to, but because they were probably trying to make a patch during work hours, and then maybe something popped up and they just forgot about it. So based on how the conversation was, that will guide you to know, is this something that I need to follow up, or something that I just need to let it go? And even if you let it go, don't feel bad about it, because again, not everyone will be your customer.
Yeah, I like the aspect of pre-qualification, and also what you've just finalized right now, Maureen. Know your customer. I just like what you've said about the career or woman. Sometimes something just came. It's important for you to do the follow-up. Mercy, you're there, Mercy. There's a question from Sharon Mwende, about to wrap up, and I'm hoping you could take this one. Mercy, her question is, what advice would you give a startup on the right positioning and pricing before launching of the products? I think Mercy has left. Maybe something happened. Mercy has left. And Coach, you could take this one. What would you give a startup on the right positioning and pricing before launching of a product or of a service? Yeah, Coach? I don't know if you can hear me.
Is that for me?
Yeah. I just decided, let me throw this to you because one of our speakers, I think, left. The question is, what advice would you give for a startup on the right positioning and pricing before launching of their product or service?
Well, I think you need to look at your competitors. You also know what the market is willing to pay for it. You also need to do some sort of competitive analysis and really be honest, because I find that a lot of entrepreneurs are emotionally invested in their businesses. They don't look at them with critical eyes. You know what I mean? It's the same way, please forgive me, I mean no disrespect. It's the same way that every baby is beautiful to their mothers. You know what I mean? That child can do no wrong. But until you look critically, you then now realize that, okay, well, maybe this child is quote unquote not so perfect. Maybe this is this, maybe this is that. So you need to be able to look at your competitors and do a bit of a SWOT analysis, right? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What opportunities are there? And what are the threats? So let me give an example. So let's say, let me do it this way. So let me use coaching, right? So there's me, there's Sheba, let's put a bunch of people together, right? So let's say, Maureen wants to compete as a coach, for example. And please forgive the references that I use, so please don't be offended, all right? So let's say Maureen wants to compete against Sheba, myself, and maybe, let me use somebody else, I don't know, whoever, maybe Vusi, let me bring Vusi into the conversation, right? And she's saying, okay, these are the guys that I want to compete with. Okay, so let me look at Vusi. Vusi has a great website. Vusi is speaking to the 1%. Vusi, those are his strengths. His weaknesses, well, because Vusi is speaking to the 1%, he doesn't have time. Let's say Vusi and Steve, they don't have time to speak to the 10% who need their help or can't afford their services. You know what I mean? So what's the action I need to create? I now need to probably position myself as the alternative to a Steve and a Vusi, for example. So maybe that's where, quote unquote, a Sheba might come in. So you may say, okay, you know what? Maybe I can't compete with Steve and Vusi, but okay, Sheba is speaking to the 10%. Sheba's messages about entrepreneurship. Sheba has a great website. Okay, I don't have those things. What are the things that I can now begin to do, so to speak, to compete with Sheba? So Sheba is speaking to women. Maybe I should speak to men. Or maybe I should speak to, if Sheba is speaking to entrepreneurial women, maybe I need to speak to career women, right? So the point really is, you've got to be able to look at all your competitors, at least most of your competitors, and this is the reason this is important, is because your customers have a choice who to give their money to. So if they're not going to give it to you, they're going to think of maybe 2 or 3 other people in your space who they will give that money. Those people are your competitors, right? And you've got to be able to look at it and say, okay, how do they position themselves, right? Steve is maybe Steve is trying to speak to the 10%. Vusi's trying to speak to the 1%. I speak to the mass market, but they can't pay. So what is the message? Do you get what I'm saying? So really, you've got to be able to do some sort of competitive analysis, look at the pricing, right? And then because your pricing is really predetermined by your positioning, you know what I mean? So it's all about how you want to position yourself. Can you still hear me? Okay, she's frozen.
Yeah. I think I can also add to what you were saying, and especially if there's money involved in making the product that you're making that you want to sell, you also have to look at your cost of goods in general. Like, how much did it take you to create whatever it is that you have created, and what time and manpower did you use in that particular scenario, so that you don't end up also pricing way below, or in a situation whereby the margins that you're getting are not really going to service, you know, your expenses at that particular time. Even if you're in the service industry, for example, maybe you will need to set up a website, maybe you'll need to employ 1 or 2 people. So there's a lot having your own, you know, pricing for your products or for your service, so that it becomes a profitable business at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to spend X amount of money to create a product or a service and then not make enough to keep the business going. So you also have to look at how much did it cost me to get to this product, which is now ready to be given to the customers.
Great. Thank you, everybody. I think, I don't know whether Mercy came back. I think I see one question from Sam. I think, is it the one that you've answered, Maureen? Do you post all your products online at once?
Oh, that's a new question, but I can respond. So with Instagram, and once you get to, for me, I deal most of my businesses on Instagram, so I'll go with that. So with Instagram, as I think maybe he heard what Steve had to say. Instagram, the way the algorithm is made is in such a way that, he says that they sell clothes. Okay, let me use an example of clothes. So Instagram, the way the algorithm works is that it won't show all your content to all your customers, you know. And then at the same time, even if you post your post right now, someone else who is logging into Instagram like 5 or 6 hours later might not see your post, because obviously when you log in, you get to see whatever has been posted as recent as maybe 10 minutes, you know, 1 hour, 30 minutes. So if you posted, let's say in the morning, and someone is logging into Instagram during lunch hour, chances of them getting to engage with your content is almost impossible unless they go to your page directly. So for me, what I try and do is utilize Instagram stories, because for Instagram stories, you can post as much as possible. And anytime you post anything new on Instagram, there's a way your story is brought. I don't know whether you remember, you know how Instagram stories are, you know, yeah. So the moment you post, it comes like among the first ones in that particular line. So someone can easily click on the Instagram stories and able to view. So in terms of how I post on my feed, I try and space them out. So for example, I can start my day at 9. So at 9, I can post like 5 products, and then I give it like 2 hours, I post another 5, I give it another 2 hours, I post. So I try and post throughout the day, but spacing them out so that in any given time, whenever some customer is coming in online, then they're able to see one or two of my products, and that will probably, let's say if they wanted to buy, a dress or whatever they saw caught their eye, then they're able to come to my feed, and then they're able to view the products over there. So I wouldn't suggest to anyone to post all at once, because again, if someone who is following you, or is your customer and is following you, is online at that particular time, and you're posting all your, let's say you have new stock and you're posting all 30 of them at once, then you will definitely overwhelm whoever is online who follows you, because they are not even able now to check out other people's content, because every time they scroll, they're just seeing posts from you, and that can even lead to such a kind of a customer and following your page in that particular instance. So for me, I believe in posting. You can post throughout the day, but space them out so that you also ensure that they are as visible to your consumers as much as possible.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks so much for that. Mercy, hi Mercy. I'd like to ask you the question I had asked a little earlier. What are two things you would let us know, especially if there's any entrepreneur in this or in this session who is in product? What are the lessons learned on online logistics? Two key things you'd like us to take away on dealing with online logistics. Marcy, are you here? Okay. Seems, I think Mercy is struggling. Could be her connection or something. I don't know if she's back yet. But anyway, in case she comes back on time, she has dropped off again. Oh yeah, she has definitely dropped off again. Right now, I just want to thank everybody who participated in this session, and most importantly, our speakers, our guests. We couldn't have had this session without you. But Maureen, Bandari, I really like your website, and I also like your social media platform. It's beautiful. It stands. I really like that, and also the follow-up that you've done, at least as a customer. And also for Coach Steve, thank you for making time to be with us today. And one of the things that I really admire about your job is how you utilize the social media, your Instagram as well, especially to be able to speak to your target market, and most importantly, to convert them into clients, or to pre-qualify them and make sure you actually don't just have followers, but you also have clients. If you'd like to get to know more of our speakers or even catch up with them, Maureen, I know she's dropped off. I wanted her to share with us her details, but Maureen, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Please share with us where we could find you and your business as well.
So mostly I operate on Instagram, although my website will be up probably sometime next month. So my business is Bandari Beauty. So I deal mostly in cosmetics, that's skincare and makeup. And you can find me as Maureen Bandari on all my social media platforms, although I'm more active on Instagram. So you can drop me a DM or send me an email. My email address is also on my page as well.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time and everything that you've shared with us. I hope Mercy is back. I'm not sure, but I just want to also to thank Mercy, founder of Nelwas Gelato, and also the new spice company. Hi, Mercy. I was asking you, and maybe you could also do it as a parting shot, two key things you've learned about online logistics that you could share with entrepreneurs in the house that are dealing with product, that are dealing with shipping, either locally or even globally during this time. Two key things you'd like us to take away.
One thing, I'll be work with a professional, because, for instance, I'm an ice cream maker, ice cream producer. That I know how to do. I am a getter. I get things. I can buy things and sell things. That I can do. But I don't know how to set up this online platforms. So get a professional to work with you. But also, before you start your online business, be aware of how the product is going to get to the customer. Let's say you go to my Instagram page right now, you order an ice cream, right? And I have to know how will that ice cream be delivered to Mbezi and everything and all that. Since we charge for delivery, we have to know all those logistics. So not you post a product and then you expect the customer to figure out themselves how they're going to get the product. That's very important. So work with a professional, but also put yourself in a customer position on how they're going to get the product and when they get it. So as simple as also know the product you're selling. I sell ice cream. When someone is in another region and say they want ice cream, I tell them the cost that it's going to cost to deliver it to another region. And sometimes I'll advise them, maybe you should take a bigger volume that it will make sense for me to send ice cream 500 kilometers. You see, so just know your product and, understand logistics of how deliveries works. In my case, I'll say I have a team of boda guys, the tuk-tuk guys that I work with. So also you can build a relationship with the tuk-tuk guys and have a relationship on the delivery process, and also make them your ambassadors during delivery. They don't just they go there, they're dirty and everything. No, they look good, clean, and when they get there, they can represent your product very well.
Great. Thank you, Marcy. You talked about, please share with us where we can connect with you, your products, your businesses, as well as you mentioned your podcast. Tell us a little bit where we can find you.
I'm mainly available through Nelwas Gelato in all platforms. I operate mainly on Instagram. As Maureen once said, you need to pick a platform that works with your customer. So for me, I operate more on Instagram, but also all platforms, Nelwas Gelato, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also you can email me at mercy@nelwasgelato.com. But also my podcast, it's my African Moves podcast. It's also available on YouTube. You can go ahead and watch and start listening to the previous conversations we've had with different entrepreneurs. And you can always WhatsApp me. My number is available on my Instagram page, Nelwas Gelato. And reach out. We're in this together, so we can only share.
Great, and I can't wait to have a taste of your amazing sweetness. Thank you so much for making
loading.
time and also just sharing all this with us. We really appreciate you. Coach Steve, thank you so much for making the time as well and engaging with us. Welcome to Kenya. Welcome to East Africa. I know you usually have very many clients on the Western side. I just wanted to let you know that we are also a big market for you, and we have many people who are business owners in East Africa, and there could be a market for you here as well as a coach. Please let us know where we could find you, Coach. Let us know where we could find you.
Well,
yes.
Thank you.
And also he can help us how to cross border to the West, because
Absolutely.
most of us, we are scared of that market.
No, we don't bite. We don't bite unless you ask us to. We don't bite. We're really nice.
Okay.
No, but absolutely. I think first off, that's the beautiful bridge that Centonomy is. Connecting people east and west all over the world, and super stoked. This is my first experience. I've had clients from other parts of the world. I've had clients from Tanzania. I've had clients from different African countries. I think Kenya, maybe not Kenya, Rwanda, yes, some other African countries, but this is a first, Kenya, so this is a first. I'm really looking forward to it. But thank you for the very kind and hospitable welcome. My handle is I am Steve Harris. All right, so that's IAMSTEVEHARRIS. That's on Instagram. I'm not active per se on Facebook. I'm relatively active on Twitter, but I'm most active on Instagram. My website is IamSteveHarris.com. Enough said.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. And this event, this webinar was brought to you, as Coach said, by Centonomy Entrepreneur. And this is where we get to learn all about business, and we get coaches and trainers who are really passionate about supporting you and your business to go to the next level And especially even during this time, as our speakers today have said, there's no time to waste. It's time to, you better be the one who disrupts your business and not anyone else who does that. So I'd like to welcome you to Centonomy Entrepreneur. We are online, and if you found this interesting, there's so much more there for you. Classes begin on the 9th of September, and we have an amazing lockdown discount for you. You get to learn structures, raising capital, accounting tax, and legal procedures, and so many other things. You know, we have 14 whole weeks of learning, and you'd be asking yourself, where will I get 14 weeks? Trust me, you will not know how those weeks will pass. You won't know. We'll be talking about marketing. Today we talked about disruption and online marketing and whether your business is important to be online. We usually have module 6, which does a whole deep dive on digital marketing. And we have an amazing trainers, and all of them have amazing trainers, and I'd be really happy to see you in our class. So if this is for you, you're most welcome. We have an amazing discount for all of you. Great timings as well. You can register today at 1,200 shillings or $12, and you can learn online. This can be that thing where Maureen was saying, after Corona, and I think even Mercy said, like after Corona, and we are getting back to doing our businesses the way they should be done. You can say, you know what, I also learned, I also networked with people, and this is what we get to offer you. Our tuition fee is also very affordable. You're able to pay 45,000 bob in 3-month installments, and we have an amazing head of entrepreneur, and that is Miss Ruby. So if this sounds like something you'd like, we welcome you, and please talk to Miss Ruby at ruby@centonomy.com, and we will be here to support you and guide you as we continue building business dynasties that thrive. We'll keep on having these conversations with you, even our alumni. Thank you for coming into this session. We promise to continue engaging with you. We'll be continue having these sessions. I know there's another one upcoming in 2 weeks, and let's keep engaging, let's keep learning, and let's keep growing our businesses. I want to thank you, everybody. And also our speakers. Can't wait to have you again. Can't wait for us to start doing business from East Africa to West Africa to Central Africa. Who knows? People could be selling ice cream all over the world. I'm super grateful, and may you have a lovely, lovely weekend and a great time. Thank you, everybody. Karibu sana, Teresa and Rachel. It's always a pleasure. Thank you. Karibu sana, Charlene. Karibu sana. See you again maybe in 2 weeks. We'll have another topic to support your business. Welcome.